Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for choosing our show. I don't take it for granted. Now, the Gen Zs have got one slogan that when we lose our fear, they lose their strength. They here refers to the political class, this group that has always conducted themselves as if they are the owners of our nation and we are aliens in this nation. So when the Gen Zs went to the streets, they said we must lose our fear so that what they think is their strength must be neutralized and diluted. In the midst of the protest against the Finance Bill 2024, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission came up with another shocking detail that, that there are state officers whose salaries have been increased. And that was very shocking. Now, many of the Kenya Kwanza team, after realizing that the youths were up in arms with them, some of their houses were burnt, they were chased away, some of them have run away, they are fleeing from their houses, from their rural homes, they are hiding in town. They thought this one is a setup. They are now pretending that it is a setup, yet they knew very well that the Salaries and Remuneration Commission was working on it. I want us to look at what is Jalango is saying, that there are things that almost look like a setup. We are in a crisis and Salaries and Remuneration Commission are proposing an increment of 14,000. Yani mnataka tupigwe, tukufe, ndio mfurahi, mimi sitaki. Jalango is saying that. And I want us to look at briefly the increment and those who have benefited, ladies and gentlemen. The president, his current salary is 400,750. Now, beginning July 1st, is going to earn 1,546,800 million. That figure is there. We have the deputy president earning 1.2. He will be earning now 1.3. We have cabinet secretaries who have been earning 92 or 924,000. They will be earning 990. And there are other privileges that they also have, and the increment is also there. We have head of public service who was earning 924, now 990. We have secretary to the cabinet. We have attorney general. We have governors. We have MPs. We have principal secretaries. We have police inspector general, director general, NS. I want us to look at this, and I've got videos of members of Kenya Kwanza Senate who are begging, they are on their knees begging Gen Zs and saying, sisi hatutaki, mnataka tuchomwe, mnataka tupigwe. You want to create an enmity between us. That enmity was created long time ago. But first, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you an update of the girl we were helping, the girl in Sinyolo Secondary School, and how far we have reached.
How are you? My name is Nicole Christine Odero. I'm a student at Sinyolo Girls High School and I'm in Form 4. I've been having issues of school fee arrears since I've been coming back home for fee break continuously as other students are continuing with their academics back at school. This has really thwarted my performance from being better. And I would like to achieve my goals by having better grades in my KCSE exams. I would like to join the university, Kenyatta University in Nairobi, but the situation is not encouraging. Anyway, I'm having a big balance right now, and anyone out there who may like to help me to clear my school fees, I will really appreciate. My parents are not able to pay my school fees and they have been having big challenge in paying my school fees. I'm living with my aunt who is also not stable. She doesn't have a job and I've been surviving with the bursaries. I will I would really appreciate if anyone would help me to clear my school fees. May God bless you. Thank you.
Now that is the situation, ladies and gentlemen. By yesterday, when we aired the request, the lady had presented fee structure of 47,000 Kenya shillings. And I want to thank those who have sacrificed. We are in a season where many people, people are going to school. So many parents are taking their children back to school from midterm. We are in a season where many have been killed on the streets, and there are a lot of contribution requests here and there. But despite that, some people decided that they were not going to just abandon this lady. And I have got some two well wishers who gave me three quarters of that fee. It was 47,000, and one person sent 20,000 to the school account. By the way, I just realized that in that fee structure, there is an account, school account, where you can also just channel directly. So someone gave me 20,000, then another one sent me 10,000, and then other friends and well wishers were giving 50, 100, 1,000. As at the time I was doing this video, I had 17,650 plus the 20,000 that is in the school account. That is 37,650. When you do a quick mathematics, it tells you that we have got a balance of 9,350. If we get that, because I wanted to hand over this money on Friday, if we get that even now, today, then we simply close the request to raise more funds. Again, thank you very much for those who have sacrificed their hard-earned cash, the little that they have. The balance is 9,350 from 47,000. Indeed, I want to thank you on behalf of this list. So let us continue giving. So ladies and gentlemen, that list is the one that summarizes how state officers have increased their salaries. And they are now saying, like the MPs are saying, that it is a setup by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, yet they knew very well that the SRC was working on it. I want us to listen to the members of the Senate from the Kenya Kwanza team, the very arrogant members. Now they have swallowed humble pie. They are pretending to be now very humble, and they are saying we don't need this money. I'm telling you, Gen Zs did a good job. Kindly listen to them.
When UHC colleagues, interns, we invited SRC here. They told us there is no money to increase for UHC doctors or JSS, but they are quick to increase money for us members of parliament to create discontent and fuel the country into discontentment of members of parliament, Mr. Speaker.
I begin, Mr. Speaker, I'd wish to personally, and this is at a personal level, not even necessarily as Senator for Kericho, Majority Leader, but just as a leader and somebody who God has granted the opportunity to serve in a position of responsibility in this country, to tender my unreserved apology to the country for either by commission or omission, everything that I have contributed into getting us into the mess and the place that we are in. I have reflected deeply the last few days, Mr. Speaker, and looked through my own journey as an individual and asked myself very serious questions, trying to wear the shoes of the ordinary citizens and how they feel at this particular moment about me as a person. I don't want to focus about any other individual, whichever office they occupy, but just me, a citizen of this country, that God in his own wisdom granted the opportunity to serve in a place of responsibility and try to retrace my steps. What is it that perhaps I should have done better? I have to be sincere, Mr. Speaker, that there were days in the night that I contemplated even quitting and said, perhaps maybe other people can do it. But this is not the time to quit. Because quitting doesn't solve. It doesn't get us out of the hole that you already are in. If it's about getting out and running away, Mr. Speaker, you first sort the mess that you created. Salaries and Remuneration Commission. have been silent as this whole debate has been raging. Silence is not an option anymore, Mr. Speaker. They have to speak to the country. They have to tell us what is it that you're going to do so that we reduce our public expenditure on wages and salaries from 46% to the mandatory 35%, Mr. Speaker. If it means taking a pay cut, we as members of parliament, Mr. Speaker, good people, we have been told that it's not possible, that members of parliament will never do it. We don't have an option. We must do it, Mr. Speaker. The yearly increment that is now being discussed, that we are being told that, I saw that being reported or misreported in sections of the media, that we are now going to earn more. SRC continues to be silent about it, but we must make a resolution and say we reject even that one in light of the financial situation. But as it is, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, even if the high earners were to take a shave on their salary, that is still not enough. I don't have the statistics, and that's why I've said some of these constitutional commissions have failed us, Mr. Speaker. I don't know what would be the percentage of Kenyans say that earn over and above 100 and 150. But I'm certain, Mr. Speaker, they are in the slim minority of less than 10%. 90% of our public officers earn less than 100,000 and below, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, whatever savings that we can make there, let us make. But over and above, the thing that people don't like, Mr. Speaker, and this featured prominently. Senator Omogeni is out, but he knows this featured prominently in our NADCO talks. And a report that we tabled here, Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, which we haven't done with speed, Mr. Speaker, captured all the wastages that are in the public expenditure space and what we need to do as a country. From page 546 of the NADCO report, I think, to almost page 600, Mr. Speaker. Where things that we understand, things are tight. It's the most obvious thing that people do. Young people are telling us, when you have a job with Safaricom, you can live in Langata. But the day you lose that job, you move downwards to either to South B or Umoja until things get better. That's what we are not able to do.
I think this must be considered as the eighth wonder of the world. A Kenyan member of parliament rejecting a salary increment. That has never happened before. It is unprecedented. The eighth wonder of the world. I mean, this is unimaginable. Do you know who's done that? The Gen Z who went on the street before their noble cause was hijacked by goons who are torching houses, vandalizing property. I picked on Aaron Cheruiyot and his counterpart because they are almost one of the most arrogant MPs in the Senate. Can you imagine if the Gen Zs had not gone to the streets, if Kenyans had not protested, and then the SRC was inviting them to accept the salary increment? Would they have rejected it? In fact, they would have been very arrogant. They would have given you the laws that don't allow them to reject this, that I don't know, they cannot do that, it is the salaries. They would have given you reasons why it cannot. They would have given you the amount of money they use when they go back to their rural homes during funerals and all that. But now, because of the anger, because some of them faced the wrath of the Gen Zs, they were evacuated from churches, they were stopped from talking, some of their homes were touched. They have learned their lessons. And this is how things should be. Members of the society, youths, Kenyans must always rise up for their rights. Because I have realized that oppressors do not give freedom very freely like that. People must rise up and grab it. Yes, that is it. And it is now very funny that the members of parliament who were yearning for increment, they knew very well that the Salaries and Remuneration Commission was continuing, was in the process of reviewing their salaries. Now they are saying, sisi hatutaki. This is going to, like Jalango is saying, this is a setup, whatever it is you want to call it. People on the streets, yearning for change, telling you drop the bill, drop it because it is increasing taxes. They are telling William Ruto, fire your cabinet, reduce corruption, reduce wastage, then you still come up with such, increment of state officers. Where are the police? Where are doctors? Where are teachers? The other day they were saying there's no money even to employ the JSC teachers. Now they have the money to increase salaries of members of parliament, of the police commission, inspector general, of governors, of attorney general, cabinet secretaries. What do you mean? Can you ask Kenyans whether they want Metrika Linturi to have his salary increased? A corrupt, bloated cabinet. Then you still give them this money, hard earned cash. Our schools are still grappling with the lack of capitation fee, school feeding program. This is unacceptable, and I think people must go back to the street if this is still going to continue. Because I know the members of the Senate might say we don't want because of the wrath. What about the director, NIS, DCI, police inspector, principal secretaries? What about them? They will take it. So it is, I've realized that the problem is not just with the political class. Now look at these state officers. How are they going, or are we going to compel them to reject this? At least for the MPs, you will get them in the constituencies. How does an inspector general feel when his salary has been increased, yet the people he leads, the police, are living in squalid, mabati, iron sheet structures, and yet his salary is being raised? And what about the president and the deputy who told us that they will be forming a government of hustlers, bottom up? Is this bottom up? Or didn't I understand? The bottom up was supposed to look at the people who are down economically. But now when we begin by increasing the salaries of a president, of a deputy, of cabinet secretaries, is it the bottom up? No. And if this is what Gen Zs could achieve by the protest, then the protest must continue. I remember Raila telling the US rogue ambassador that if protest can lead Azimio and Kenya Kwanza to sit down and talk, then maandamano ni mzuri, protest is good. And so that is the same thing that we want to apply, that the protest must continue despite the intimidation, despite the shooting, despite the goons and hooligans who infiltrated the protests. They must be singled out and eradicated completely. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenyans have no fear anymore. When we lose our fear, they lose their grip, they lose their strength.